Alright, hello everybody and welcome back. Chinese Dota is finally back on the menu. We've got Nanyang Championship group stages here. It's Newbie Young versus EHOME.K. I'm basically here providing some coverage and we can finally get underway. A combination of Reborn and Perfect World and everything else has delayed the start of this a little bit as we struggled to get casters into the lobby, but I think at least on my end, stream's now working, game seems to be working, hopefully everything is alright. If anything's going wrong, guys, just let me know in the chat, and we can hopefully get that sorted out. So, draft's already underway, some familiar faces getting banned out here. We've got the Storm and the Lesh removed, Bounty Hunter as well, and Newbie Young just going to be snagging up the Tusk for themselves. So, my first cast since TI qualifiers. It's been a little while, got to shake off some rust, but looking forward all the same to bringing you guys this coverage here today. So, still the same patch, still the usual suspects, of course. 6.85 cannot come quickly enough, but at least it's Captain's mode. At least we have a decent... we have reasonable expectations of what we're going to be seeing, but at least there's bans. At least this isn't your ranked pub game where the guy last picks Lesh and you've got no answers and you have a very sad time. So, EHOME firing back with a pretty common 1-2 punch, just going to grab the Gyrocopter and the Dazzle. So things looking good on that front, not really committing too heavily to their lanes just yet, though aggressive tri-lanes aren't really a thing at all at the moment, so I don't know exactly what there is to say as far as that goes. It's probably just Dazzle and Gyrocopter going to be heading down to the safe lane. Newbie Young have some options in terms of how they're going to be running the Tusk, but pretty much just your off lane or your 4-position support. Nothing too shocking there. Could be some kind of duo off lane action if they really want to try and put a lot of pressure on this Gyrocopter, but Gyrocopter Dazzle I think already shores up that lane more than well enough for EHOME.K. And yeah, looks like everything's alright, blah blah blah. People panicking that the stream went down. Sorry about that. Again, guys, I had to fix my microphone. It wasn't being picked up by my streaming software, so quick restart took care of that. And Newbie Young are just going to end up grabbing themselves the Queen of Pain. A little bit surprised to see the Quap. Lina is still in the pool and does tend to be, I think, sort of the preferred answer to your very BKB-reliant carries such as the Gyrocopter. And I feel like Queen of Pain is the weaker of the two heroes in a lot of regards at the moment, so we'll see what Newbie Young can get done with the Queen of Pain here. She's still a decent hero, but I feel like the nature of mid lane at the moment being as bottle heavy and as spammy as it is, Queen of Pain doesn't really win any of the, well, it doesn't win heavily a lot of the 1v1 matchups right now, and that can make it hard for her to have the early game impact that she needs to really shine as a hero, because her late game scaling, while decent, isn't to the same degree as a hero like Alina or a Lesh necessarily. And I'm a little bit surprised to see the Shadow Fiend banned up by Newbie Young. Of course, you know, if EHOME.K pick up the Shadow Fiend, put a mech on him, and just start 5-manning, that could be very difficult to deal with from their perspective, but the Queen of Pain is a really good laning matchup against the Shadow Fiend, at the very least, so looks like they're just a little bit worried about that more 5-man oriented kind of plan, and just going to end up banning out the Spirit Breaker here as well. So, setting up for the Queen of Pain decently. We'll have to see how she does overall. For anybody wondering about this format in general, people who are coming in blind, this is the Nanyang Championships. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this is the group stage part of the China Qualifier. So there are 14 teams total in the China Qualifier, 4 Tier 1 and 10 Tier 2. The 10 Tier 2 teams have been split into 2 groups of 5. They're going to be playing best of 1 round robins among those 2 groups of 5, and the top 2 teams from each group are going to advance through into the next round to face up against those 4 Tier 1 teams in bracket play, and then the winners of that bracket play are going to be going to the main event. So there's plenty of stages, but this is our round robin stage here, and this is just the best of 1 between Newbie Young and EHOME.K. The schedule is a little bit weird, it's worth noting, since we have 1 match now, and then I believe there's like a 2-hour or 1.5-hour break before the second round of matches for the day is due to start, so there will be, you know, a bit of a pause here, or maybe the stream will go down, but that's what we've got lined up here at the moment. Meanwhile, EHOME.K just going to be getting rid of Undying. They do have Gyrocopter, so decent at dealing with it, but it looks like, again, similar to Newbie Young, banning out the Spirit Breaker to make sure that the Queen of Pain has a decent start. I think the EHOME plan here is we don't want to face Tusk and Undying in the off lane, and just really banning out those sort of cheesy Tusk combos. They are just going to end up snagging the Lina for themselves here. Could be their mid, could just be their secondary support. We've seen a lot of, well, we've seen a decent amount of support Lina as of late, and personally I haven't seen, I don't even know if there's been any matches or anything going on in China before this point. It really does feel like this is the first glimpse that we're getting back into Chinese Dota since TI. So the meta is always subtly different, I think, in China compared to other regions. You know, hero priorities, of course, are gonna be a little bit different in their internal meta. So it's good to get a handle on what's going on. Though, of course, this patch is been around for such a long time that the power heroes are still going to be the power heroes, of course. I guess notably we haven't seen, well, there's no Naga in this game, and Naga has been fairly popular in other regions. Anti-Mage as well, somewhat ignored thus far, but again, not really hard countering anybody that's been picked up in the pool just yet. And I guess the other big carry here to throw out for Newbie Young is potentially the Phantom Lancer. It is a little bit tough since you're up against the Gyrocopter, you're up against the Lina. There is a lot of AoE clear for your illusions, but we've seen teams still favoring the PL, even when he's up against pretty bad odds. Just going to keep things open for the time being as they go in for the Winter Wyvern, which I think EHOME.K going to be very happy with the fact that they've got that Lina. Doesn't really care too much about the Cold Embrace. And there's decent targets for Winter's Curse. Disabling Gyrocopter is not the worst thing in the world, but I don't know if you're really going to be, if EHOME.K are going to be killing any of their own teammates in the duration of the Winter's Curse. But just a good hero in general, decent early game pressure, responds to ganks fairly well, so and helps to beef up their team fight a little bit. Like I was talking about with the SF ban, I think the one thing that Newbie Young do have to be a little bit worried about at the moment is EHOME just kind of grouping up as 5 and running them down, which can be a little bit difficult for Tusk and even Queen of Pain to an extent to deal with. And I think a lot of what we're seeing in the draft thus far is kind of helping to mitigate that somewhat. Winter Wyvern, of course, from that perspective, also has some really good defensive spam and really good at kind of holding on to drag out the game, which it looks like they are going to need to do at least somewhat as they go in for the Phantom Lancer. Good one position here to have against the Clockwork. Pretty much, well, very unlikely to be solo killed by the clock at any stage of the game. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see if the Phantom Lancer can get enough steam rolling to actually tank up enough to deal with this Gyrocopter, because I think the Gyro is looking pretty well positioned right now. Newbie Young could still pick up a second hero to pair up with the Tusk to head towards the off lane and try and apply a lot of pressure, especially because they've got the Phantom Lancer and the Winter Wyvern in their safe lane. They should be able to zone out the Clockwork at least decently there, and that does potentially free up a hero to go and put pressure down towards the Radiant safe lane. But very little reserve time left for either team here. I mentioned the Naga Siren earlier, and it looks like he is just going to end up being banned out here. Would have probably been, I guess it would have just been a support Naga in this case, and I don't even know if support Naga would have been all that impressive for Newbie Young. It's good teamfight disengage, it's decent setup, but a Winter Wyvern and a Naga Siren do not have a lot of, don't have a lot of damage between the two of them, not a whole lot of ganking potential. Meanwhile, Newbie Young just going to cover their Phantom Lancer a little bit more as they ban out the Ember. Again, that's the one advantage that EHOME have with this Lina pickup. They can run it mid in a pinch if they want to, but they've also got the opportunity to pick up another mid hero that's somewhat better positioned, perhaps, and just bump that Lina over into a support role where she is more than capable. So, with 50 seconds remaining on the clock, EHOME gonna have to make their decision pretty quickly. What else is still in the pool for them?
Reserve time.
I mean, there's some options with a little bit more lockdown for the Queen of Pain, perhaps. You could run something like a Silencer if you wanted to as your secondary support. Haven't seen a whole lot of Lion recently, but could be an option as well. I think it just depends on whether or not they feel like they have enough lockdown right now for the Queen of Pain and the Phantom Lancer. And, well, EHOME gonna mix things up a little bit here as they end up going for a Tinker. Okay, so Phantom Lancer, Queen of Pain, maybe didn't have enough lockdown for the two of them. Split push might have been a little bit annoying, but now they've got the Tinker, they've got fantastic ways to defend lanes, they've freed themselves up in the same way that having an Ember Spirit frees you up to sort of group up as four, go and do things, and the Tinker is always ready to go back and respond to split push, and always ready to come and join the team. A little bit difficult this game because he doesn't have any summons or anything necessarily to always Boots of Travel into, so if Newbie Young catch the right kind of engagement, they could still end up having 10-20 seconds before the Tinker gets there. If he gets caught napping somewhat, right as he TPs into a lane, Newbie Young jump the rest of his team, but we'll see how the Tinker does. Not the strongest hero in general at the moment, I think, and Newbie Young just going to respond to Greed in kind as they just grab themselves an Enigma. Okay, so it's Offlane Tusk, Hard 5 Winter Wyvern, position 1 Phantom Lancer, position 2 Queen of Pain. Does give them some more counter push and some more team fight, and EHOME.K not necessarily the best equipped to deal with an Enigma. So can I actually click on anything? Can I please? All right, there we go. Whoop. Switch the overlay. Again, guys, this is my first time casting on Reborn, so things could be a little bit weird. I mean, casting on Perfect World. Okay, I can't click heroes. I have to drag. That's frustrating. What's going on here? Can I ping? I can ping, but I can't click. Alright, just Reborn things. Anyway, let's get ourselves underway. Oh, God, yeah, I'm gonna... that's gonna bug me. But anyway, we'll live with it. And EHOME.K, I think, sensing that they have the slightly better level 1 in general, just going for the straight-up invasion into the dire jungle right now. Little ward being placed over towards mid, give them some good high ground vision. And I think Newbie.Young, suspecting that they might be coming over to try and block out their jungle for the Enigma, are just going to keep staying grouped up. They're coming up this hill, however, the stun's going to land onto 2. Some trouble for the Queen of Pain, the Cog down to 3. They do get a nice snowball buying them a little bit of time. The march is already laid down and they can't go running back. Another stun, blink away from the Queen of Pain is going to get her safe. But Tusk will be the casualty. Oh, and I can't even click at the top. What on earth? Oh, no, I can. But I can't click up at the top to select anyone. Alright, that's great. Maybe this is because I marked myself as a cameraman. That might have been a mistake. Yeah, anyway, so First Blood is going to end up going to the Lina there. Bit of blocking going on mid just to help out the Tinker. Both Bounty Runes, actually not both Bounty Runes, going to end up going to EHOME. It's going to be one apiece as Phantom Lancer is actually starting down on bottom lane for now. Winter Wyvern, however, is all the way up on top, so I don't quite know what's going on here, but PL is going to be able to get a couple of CS down bot before the Dazzle turns up to give him too hard of a time. In terms of the mid lane matchup, it's a Queen of Pain versus a Tinker. I think this is actually a Tinker favored matchup. In general, we'll see if Tinker's going to end up going for making the decision to hold on to skill points to apply pressure, which means that the Queen of Pain can't ever really blink in, because if she blinks in, you just sink points into Heat-Seeking Missile and just kill her outright, but might also be playing this a little bit more conservatively and just go for the March of the Machines, because that does seem to be the kind of angle that they're taking with this Tinker pickup, which is to just have him ready to deal with the potential split push from the Queen of Pain and the Phantom Lancer a little bit later on. Enigma looks like didn't get too much of his stuff blocked out. Actually dropped down a sentry ward and looks like they got rid of the one sentry that was blocking out the medium camp. So he's pretty much 100% ready to go in the jungle, and should be a really good mech timing for him here. A little bit of action top lane. We've got Lina lobbing stuns from the trees here, just being a nuisance and putting pressure on PL, who's not doing very well in terms of CS, starting out down on bottom lane and having to make a rotation all the way up to top. So things looking pretty alright for the Clockwork. He's going to get his level 3 more or less off of this side pull. Enigma's coming down, just going to snag that bounty, but nothing more really happening down there. And actually just support rotations on both sides to pick up the ring. Tusk is somewhat vulnerable down here on bot, doesn't have a ward, hasn't blocked out the pull. So I think that EHOME are a little bit better positioned overall for their safe lane, just in terms of not having this blocked out. The Radiant, however, have blocked out the Dire pull camp, so they've got much better control over the lane end, as we saw. They already ran a side pull a little bit earlier, so Clock's got his level 3, and they're just pouring on the pressure here. Arctic Burn comes out of the Winter Wyvern, but not going to do anything aggressive with it, just retreating back over the trees. Alright, so at the very least, you know, things aren't going amazingly for Newbie, but they do have Queen of Pain farming decently on mid. It's pretty even at the moment, though. Again, I do think this matchup is a little bit Tinker favorite overall, and their saving grace is the fact that they've got this Enigma farming away in the jungle, so things looking pretty good there. In terms of an overall advantage, not really much to speak of. We're only 3 minutes into the game. I don't know what anyone was expecting. But they are really giving this Phantom Lancer a hard time. I mean, props to the guy. He's still managing to pick up some CS, 10 and 3 at this stage, but still bottom of the cores for now, and Piao doing great, honestly, down on bottom lane. Pretty much totally uncontested. Tusk only has a salve remaining. I think there's still plenty of regen between the Dazzle and the Gyro, so you can put pressure on there, and yeah, just gonna start running some pulls and getting this back. Tusk is getting a fair amount of levels, so lane control, not perfect from EHOME down bot, but it should still be some pretty good levels for the Dazzle. Do we have any stacking going on? Looks like, yep, Tinker actually attempting to stack up for himself there, but ends up missing it, as Queen of Pain's going to go for the 4-minute room. We've got some action topside. It's just Clockwork running at the Phantom Lancer and the Winter Wyvern. Not really doing much else. And Queen of Pain, level 5, pretty big commitment, wants to make a go on top lane here. Clock's a long way up in the lane, Lina a little bit further back. Gonna start the slowdown. It looks like Clockwork is gonna end up going down here. Nice stun! Dog 7 just gonna be able to keep on running. Do we get a deny out of the Lina? Ticking down a little bit, one more tick. There you go, got him. Okay, so pretty bad rotation for the Quap there, unfortunately. They did switch the Tusk over to mid lane to continue farming up in the meantime, so not a total waste, but definitely not what the Queen was hoping for there. Really good positioning from the Lina, kind of suspected that something weird was going on, and made sure that she didn't also get caught. Because it could have quite easily been a double kill, I think, if the Arctic Burn goes on the Lina and she's just sitting up in the lane next to the Clockwork. But anyway, we've got is that a smoke picked up by Enigma? Is he does have 1 point in Malefice. He's level 6 now, so can pick up the black hole and try and make a rotation and get something done, but that, similar to the Queen of Pain's rotation just then, is a little bit of a gamble. So we'll see what he ends up going for. Again, he's sort of the saving grace for his team right now. His jungle isn't blocked, so he's getting good farm. Lead CS right now, but it looks like that smoke was actually just donated over to the Tusk and the Winter Wyvern, but still making a rotation up towards top. I don't know if he's going to be spotted. This Radiant Ward's a little bit too far around the corner. And Tusk coming in as well. Once again, it's Clock far up in the lane. Lina a little bit further back, but they come around, they get the snowball stun out. Should be Lina dead almost immediately. 7 Dog, can he find a path out of here? I doubt it. 4 heroes beating him down, some body blocks coming out of the Enigma. That's going to be 1 kill for Enigma and 1 kill for the Winter Wyvern. So good rotation, no black hole used. So it does still have that available, and well, they might even be able to put a little bit of pressure on this tower. It is full HP. There is a glyph available, but... And actually, yeah, I guess with all that, Enigma might just be considering going back into farming the jungle and continuing to work towards his mech right now. Yeah. Clockwork's already back up top, so... End of the push! Tusk and Winter Wyvern deciding that they're not done just yet, gonna start moving over towards mid. Sonic Wave is available for the Queen. And with March of the Machines used, this dive does become somewhat safer. Does Dazzle have a TP scroll? That's the big question right now. And I can't double click him. He does have a TP scroll, and he's showing on bottom lane, so... I think that's the big factor there. They know that if they dive the Tinker, Dazzle's just gonna TP grave him. Another March could come down and they could just end up losing 1 or 2 heroes. So I'm gonna call it quits there for now. It's gonna, that last gank is gonna bring the net worth down to pretty much 0 experience. Actually about a 1k lead in Newbie's favor right now, but again, largely just due to the fact that they've got that jungle Enigma farming away nicely. In terms of the stack situation, looks like that's a triple stack there. Tinker just setting himself up since Lena's been busy applying pressure top this entire time. And what else do we have going on item build-wise? There's a Robo the Mega and the Queen of Pain, but that might still just be for power treads at this stage. Orchid is good, especially for Dazzle, Lena, and the Tinker, but we'll see. It's really going to depend on the next couple of minutes as to whether or not she ends up going for it. And this is another pretty big moment. Making her way top, looking for the wraparound, has the Sonic Wave. Actually, the entire team is up here at the moment, so they should be somewhat suspicious for EHOME. Nobody's showing mid, nobody's showing bot. They don't have the best ward coverage towards this top side of the map, but they're going to see that there's a bunch of heroes barreling down the lane towards them and are going to play it somewhat defensively. The Queen of Pain has given up on top and is just gone over and shown mid, so they're going to feel a little bit safer as a result there. Tinker's almost got his Boots of Travel, just about to hit the 9-minute mark here, so gonna have those up before even a single tower falls, and that could make it a bit tough for Newbie if they wanted to get any kind of a timing off of this mech to be able to go and get any pushing done. And I guess that's where it is somewhat worth looking at this game from a late game perspective. Clock, of course, doesn't scale all that amazingly, but Lena can definitely pick up some items and adopt more of a core role in the later stage of the game. Tinker scales well, but only scales about as well as you can play him. But hopefully EHOME have some confidence in their Tinker player here, and well, Gyrocopter, of course, gonna scale fantastically. I think it's about the same for Newbie. The Queen of Pain, again, discussed it during the draft, can be a somewhat underwhelming mid to late gamer, depending on the circumstances and depending on how our early snowball goes, but we'll see. Again, it's the next couple of minutes. We do have a Sage's Mask already picked up, so it looks like it is going to end up being the Orchid. Big Gyrocopter rotation shouldn't be too shocking to anyone who's watched Dota recently, and they're going to come jumping in. Phantom Lancer manages to get the Doppelganger off, and is just going to be able to get out of there. So, pretty expensive rotation for the Gyrocopter to be making his way all the way up here, but EHOME might still try and pressure and get something else done. Winter Wyvern is level 6. Does have a TP scroll at the ready. Enigma, not quite to his mech, but again, does still have the threat of that black hole to come and do something to this push. And same story for the earlier push for the Dire. It's Glyph and a full HP tower here. Queen of Pain coming in from the side. I think has been spotted on that Radiant Ward that was just around the corner. Cogs coming out, and Piao not in the best position, doesn't have the call down for 10 seconds. They're going on the Lena. Walrus punching the Sonic Wave, blow her up immediately, and the Ice Shards fly in, killing the Gyrocopter before he can do anything. Clockwork now graved. The Battery Assault ends up canceling the Black Hole, and it looks like Enigma not going to end up going down to the March of the Machines, somehow weaving a path in between there. And it's going to end up being 4 for 1. EHOME losing 4 and a double kill picked up for the Tusk.
Radiant's
So.
top tower
Well, I
is
said his
under
start was a
attack.
little bit slow in the off lane, but he's looking great, and EHOME just really overextending there somewhat. I mean, they came up, they dropped some spells, they used the cooldown, they did no damage whatsoever to the PL. Gyrocopter is somehow all the way up here in the lane, and they just get totally obliterated by that first team fight. And that's without the mech on the Enigma, which he's now got picked up, and things all of a sudden looking really good for Newbie.Young. And I was harping on and on about the fact that the Queen of Pain needed to have a decent start, I think, to justify the build. But no, actually not going to be the Orchid. Looks like Queen just going straight for Yules. Alright. So, good way to interrupt the Tinker TP out. Gives you some more opportunities to pick up solo kills. That way, also decent, if Lena manages to pick up a Yules, you can just Yules yourself afterwards. Looking for the Queen of Pain, but she's got the haste, just going to start playing with Piao a little bit. The Dazzle has TP down, and is he going to be able to get here in time? Drops the weave, so Queen of Pain now knows that Dazzle is in the neighborhood, but still has this haste rune. Yeah, just going to call it quits for now, content with sending the Gyrocopter back to base. Gyro is being somewhat greedy with his build. Looks like he's going to be picking up a Dominator first, so looks like it's actually going to be EHOME taking the more defensive posture this game with the Tinker Boots of Travel now up. Just going to keep spamming things out. And this mid-tier one is actually crazy important. Tinker dying off behind the tower, actually just going to end up going down straight up to the Queen of Pain. Again, I can't click on the top bar, so I can't instantly move my camera to heroes that way. Anyway, my bad. So Tinker dies, mid-tier one's dead, access to the Ancients is now no longer safe, even without a single stack there, before the Dominator's even being picked up, and Newbie knock down that tower and just rush into the Radiant jungle and start clearing it up. Meanwhile, Phantom Lancer making really nice use of the Dire jungle, so he's well on the way to recovery, and actually just already has his Boots of Travel, so he's doing just great. And they're also going to end up catching out the Dazzle on the bottom. Alright, so this is looking pretty bad for EHOME, actually, at this point. I've got the Dominated Creep. They start stacking things up a little bit, but SCCC already has his Zeal Scepter, so easy pickoffs on the Dazzle or the Lena at this stage. Plus has the level 11, so rank 2 Sonic Wave ready to go. Tinker doing his best with the March of the Machine spam to kind of hold things out, but he's the only one really doing a heck of a lot for the team at the moment. Clockwork had a good start levels-wise. Jump up on top lane, just TP out from the Lena. Looks like she's going to be just fine. But yeah, Clockwork started out the game really nicely in terms of levels, but has gone on to just go 1-3 and not really pick up any kills. It is a fairly difficult game for him in terms of finding any solo pickoffs. Tusk is just going to snowball and waste the entire duration of your cogs. I think it's kind of tanky at this point already with his mech. Winter Wyvern can just pop Arctic Burn and fly out. And Phantom Lancer, of course. Well, Phantom Lancer and the Queen of Pain are just going to use their blink abilities to get themselves away. So I don't think it's necessarily the Clockwork's fault, but this is just... this is a hard game, and I was already talking about how if this goes late, Clockwork's going to fall off, but he hasn't even really been able to cobble together any kind of a timing at this early stage. So we'll keep an eye on Dog 7 and see what he can get done. But the vision game is definitely in favor of Newbie.Young right now. They've got a ward back behind the tower, down on bottom, ready to spot up the Tinker. If he tries to defend this, they're covering all the paths through the Radiant jungle. Their own jungle isn't covered, and that is where EHOME are taking up residence at the moment, but Tinker just TP straight in and just straight up dies. They were waiting for him the whole time. Can they at least get the Queen of Pain? Nope. Away she goes. We've also wasted there. And EHOME, what can they do? They can't push top because Queen of Pain's gonna stop them. They can't save bottom because Tinker's already dead. I guess all they can do is take the Constellation farm in the Dire jungle and hope for a better opportunity a little bit further down the line. This is the second creep that Piao has tried to send over to the Ancients. Looks like the first one may have just died or gotten killed off by the Queen of Pain, so... And these stacks from the Dominator are still yet to really pay dividends at all, and well, the item by itself isn't really doing a heck of a lot for him at the moment. And even picks up a Blade of Alacrity here. I don't know. I think I'd prefer to see Sanj components. He's just so squishy with the Dominator and the phase boots that for now he's just going to be straight up dying, I think, every single time to Sonic Wave, and then just a little bit of auxiliary damage from whatever other hero. Tusk already has 1900 gold banked, so could potentially see a Blink Dagger or something out of him. Clockwork Illusion's copping some hate here, but Newbie still exerting some great pressure on the map. 5k net worth lead, 7.5k experience lead. Clockwork gonna bonk the hook shot there. And Enigma gets out totally scot-free, so Newbie just leading EHOME on a merry chase. And once again, Queen of Pain gonna come in and deny the Ancient stack. With no tier 1 mid, it's very, very hard to defend this. And if the Quap even picks up an Ags quickly enough, we could just see SCCC using the Sonic Wave to steal Ancients here and there if the Gyrocopter tries to go for it. So looks like tier 1 top is going to be pretty much totally forfeit. Dazzle is coming in, gonna drop down a Weave, but I don't know if maybe you're gonna be all that afraid. There is a Blink Dagger now up on the Tinker, so DXM somewhat safer in terms of defending these towers, but tier 1 still pretty much dead after that push. Tusk still yet to pick up his item just yet, so we'll see exactly what that's going to be. Queen of Pain, about 1600 gold away from Ags. So doing fantastically. Jaro's got his Yasha, but again, this hit points number concerns me right now. So, we'll just have to see how these next couple of fights are going. Baldwin is very confused, getting blocked in by the ice shards. Just gonna be a Blink Dagger out of the Tusk here. Lena and Clockwork have smoked. I think just hoping to find something with the Laguna Blade here. Pain. If they can get the chain stun, should be able to get this kill here. Nice bounce back with the cogs, but it's into the Yules. Rocket Barrage along with the call down damage, however. Enough to pick up the killing spree, and it is going to be heading over towards the Gyrocopter. So 1400 gold for him. SNY should be out pretty soon, and that's really what he needs to start getting his farm going. Well, needs to start getting his team fight going. Farm at the moment, not too much of a concern, but yeah, they're not very well equipped to do anything right now. And the Phantom Lancer already has his Yasha, already has his Boots of Travel picked up. Again, slightly slow start, but he's got the entire map to really make use of here. Nobody else in his team requires all that much farm priority from this point forward, so they can pretty much give him 2 whole lanes and the entire jungle, and he can just get totally ridiculous. Popping some harassment. Tusk not exactly sure who's in the neighborhood here, so I'm not gonna try for this one.
Radiant's top tower
just gonna play it nice and safe. And for Newbie, I wonder what they're setting their sights on. Again, Phantom Lancer's not really too interested in helping them teamfight at the moment, so might just continue farming up. Tusk is definitely eager to get something done with his Blink Dagger, however, so looks like, yeah, he's gonna get at least 3 people to come and smoke up and go and try to get something done. There's some pings going out over the Ancients. I think they think that EHOME might be farming that at the moment since everybody is off the map, but they're pretty much all just grouped up behind the Gyrocopter at the moment. Gyro out in front, the smoke's being broken, they're gonna jump in, they're trying to burst the Dazzle immediately. What can they do? Snowball Stun goes over the top. They do drop the Disables onto the Clockwork. He's going to be able to hookshot back a little bit further, but Tinker finds himself in a bad situation. They do lose the Enigma, however, before he can really drop too much. Gyrocopter dropping low very quickly. Phantom Lancer joining this fight. Is he going to end up going down? No, the Laguna Blade's already been used. It's 4 for 1 so far, and make it 5 for 1. As SCCC cleans up. Triple kill for him. I don't even know if Enigma got the mech off. Looks like, okay, he did manage to get the mech off, but pretty much nothing else in that fight. And Newbie just totally cleaning house at this point. That's probably Queen of Pain Ag Scepter finished up. And almost level 16. Yeah. Things looking really good there. Meanwhile, Phantom Lancer's gonna steal the entire Radiant jungle. Mid tier 2 for the Radiant is still gonna end up standing, but they are slowly but surely getting pushed back towards their base, and Newbie.Young just soaking up every little bit of farm. So 10k the experience lead, almost 7.5k the net worth lead, 22 minutes into the game. God, Glimmer Cape picked up on the Winter Wyvern, so even if this Tinker manages to start getting up some farm and starts picking up some actual damage items like a Dagon and whatnot, his impact is already looking a little bit dicey. They can stall, but the question is what exactly they stall for, because I think eventually the Phantom Lancer is just going to overtake the Gyrocopter, and Gyro just doesn't have the sources of farm at the moment to be able to put together any kind of crazy recovery. Does have a Decimal Line, 1k gold, so looking alright there. Gonna come in and clear out these Ancients, which have been blocked out by Newbie with the Sentry. And looks like, once again, it's going to be Tusk spurring his team to action as they just start running over towards their Shan pit right now. The Dominated Creep for EHOME is actually keeping tabs on that, so they're just going to deter Newbie, it seems, at least for now. But I don't know what play EHOME can make. They can again just try and go running around with the Clockwork and the Lena Smoked, and they might be able to find something, but the map is ridiculously dark for them right now, and all of these are actually, even the Winter Wyvern is a reasonably difficult kill at this stage, so we'll just have to see what they're doing, well, what they can do. They're just kind of holding hands at the moment, keeping the Gyrocopter safe. He is sort of their one hope right now to be able to win a fight if he can just get everything off perfectly, maybe kill one or two heroes before they manage to drop too much. I think they've still got the potential here, but it's going to be tough, especially the teamfight positioning. They're just, between the Queen of Pain and the Tusk especially, Newbie have a bunch of really good ways to jump in and just destroy the backline by killing the Tinker and the Dazzle, and without sort of the constant support of the Dazzle and March being laid down by the Tinker, teamfights get really tough. If they can establish, if they can get a good spot and sort of put their backs up against a bit of terrain or something like that, they might be in an alright spot. EXM caught out top lane, Snowball Punch, a mega kill streak there for the Tusk. Tinker feels like he has to do this. He feels like he has to go and split push and has to go and get things done, but unfortunately it's really far from safe. Tusk punishes him, Queen of Pain totally punishes him, and Queen now picking up another point booster, so it looks like we might be seeing probably an Octarine core out of her. Piao, not messing around with any more survivability, has just picked up a Demon Edge, so I think maybe probably just a Monkey King bar coming out of him. Somewhat preempts a Phantom Lancer Butterfly, but I think PL's definitely got items like Heart and Scotty on the agenda before he's really going to be looking towards a B-Fly here. So just a solid damage item for the Gyrocopter. But the graph's probably still telling a pretty grim story as net worth continues to move down in a dire favor direction, and as does experience. About 14k the experience lead right now, actually, and that's who's that's who's really struggling for EHOME. It's this poor Dazzle, level 8, 26 minutes into the game. In terms of other significant levels, what are they missing? Clock and Lena both have their level 11, so they're at least decently happy. Gyro 16, of course, is a pretty big deal. Tinker doesn't really have the farm to make use of his rank 3 rearm just yet, so that's not a huge boon for him. So I guess the experience lead isn't weighing too heavily on EHOME right now, but still definitely getting out farmed. And as Triple C just boldly blinking into the Radiant jungle here, was spotted by a ward just around the corner. I think he's just in fog for now. Fuck, gonna lob the hook, but not gonna land it, and it's just gonna end up being a little bit of wasted time for the Lina and the Clockwork. Phantom Lancer pushing in on top. Tinker a little bit late to the party, gonna start laying down some archers, but he's been spotted in the trees, punched up into the air, dropped down, killed once again. And with 60 seconds dead on the Tinker, that should open things up for NewbieY to easily grab this tier 2 tower, and maybe even start making some inroads towards Roshan or the tier 2 over at mid. And Gyrocopter is coming in, kind of getting into position to defend. Last tick gonna end up being snagged there by the Phantom Lancer, who now has 2k gold banked, so Heart getting closer and closer and closer. And all Tinker can do is watch from the sidelines right now, as the map gets totally choked off from EHOME.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But it's just been really good play from Newbie so far. They've got good warding, they've been spotting the Tinker, they've been getting the crucial pickoffs, transitioning it into towers, getting good farm all the while. Not really much else to say. I feel like the EHOME draft just kind of hasn't worked out in the way that they were hoping for, or that they kind of changed what their plan was a little bit at the last minute. Tinker again going to be jumped bottom lane, stunned up. I think all of that set up by the Winter's Curse from the Winter Wyvern, but Tinker dead. Time for another tower to drop, and this is going to be the last tier 2 for EHOME. Nobody else on the team can really do anything to stop this, and if Newbie wanted to, they could just back up, go take Roshan, get the Aegis, put it over on their Queen of Pain or the Phantom Lancer. Probably just start sieging the high ground, honestly. Monkey King Bar is now up over on the Gyrocopter, and he's still maintaining a slight net worth lead ahead of the Phantom Lancer right now, but unfortunately he's the only one on EHOME really scaling up for now. Hookshot gets thrown out by the Clockwork, but quick Doppelganger is going to be more than enough for Phantom Lancer to get away, and I think that speaks to frustration more than anything from Dog7. Again, it's just a really tough Clockwork game, and those last couple of picks in the draft sort of pull in two different directions. The Clockwork is very, okay, we're gonna try and group up, and we're gonna do things early, and we're gonna make those early Gyrocopter rotations that you kind of hope to see out of the hero, and then the last pick on the Tinker, as much as he can be a sort of rolling siege hero where your team is just grouped up and you're coming in and bottling people and laying down March of the Machine so the enemy team can never engage into you, it seems like with the Tinker pick they kind of made the call to play a slightly farmier game, and they've really just been punished for it, and the Clockwork's really just been left behind. So it's going to be Roshan taken down. Was that a Blink Dagger on the Quap? Or am I losing it? Okay, not a Blink Dagger for the Queen of Pain. But a couple of Blink Daggers picked up. There is one over on the Winter Wyvern right now. Tinker gonna have to rearm and immediately blink away, but he's still being cancelled by the Arctic Burn. Didn't get the shift Q or the spam blink off, and now he's just trapped in the trees, waiting to die to the Enigma of Malefice. Oh man, that's just sad. Anyway, so that's Heart ready for the Phantom Lancer. They've got their Aegis over on the Queen of Pain. Blink Dagger picked up for the Enigma. So they have initiation through the roof. And breaking high ground, even against a Tinker, is probably not going to be too much of an issue at this stage. Gyrocopter, forced to drop everything, doesn't have a TP scroll at the ready. It looks like that is going to be enough to deter the Phantom Lancer and send him packing. I think he's just hoping to get bottom lane pushed out, and then will likely look to join his team either on top or on mid a little bit later with his boots of travel. This is so sad for EHOME. They've got 3 heroes right in the neighborhood, but they can't do anything about the lone Phantom Lancer. And he's definitely the kill that they want out of anything at this stage, just because he's not the one with the Aegis. They can buy a lot of time if they get this pick off. They're looking for it. The TP comes in from the Tinker as well, but there's 2 heroes from Newbie just around the corner. Doppelganger saves him on 38 HP. They jump in. Will end up losing to Lina, but they got the Phantom Lancer. And SCCC a little bit low on mana. Piao gonna try and TP away. Nice Force Staff gonna buy him some space, but Yule Scepter sends him skyward, and he's gonna be finished off. Meanwhile, Dog 7 still full HP, but just gonna have to wander his way back towards the mid lane. I think that was a... Well, that wasn't the best that EHOME could have gotten. Of course, they would have loved to just kill the Phantom Lancer and get everybody out totally for free, but given the situation, I don't think that was the worst trade in the world. Unfortunately, Quap a little bit low on mana right now, so it'll take a while before she can contribute too much. Running into some cogs. Definitely not going to help her case either, and just jumps deep into the base here. It's going to be healed up, but again, mana is going to prove to be the issue right now. And GXM, with his team at his back, is going to at least be able to make a stand here at the tier 3. He was really unsuccessful in defending his tier 1, in defending his tier 2, but looks like EHOME are finally going to be able to set up some defenses here as it approaches the tier 3 tower. However, it's taken them about a 20k net worth lead and a 25k experience lead to get to that point, time-wise, so we'll see if they can start to turn that. Is that a... Who is buying... so that's Dagon picked up for the Tinker. What's he actually got? Oh, God, this stupid clicking. Alright, Dagon 3 picked up for Tinker, so decent burst damage for him. I think we've only got the one of Glimmer Cape on Newbie Y, but there is a... Where is that Tusk? There's a 9-second BKB on the Tusk, and there is a 10-second BKB on the Enigma, which means that EHOME only have the Clockwork Hookshot to be able to cancel a Blink BKB Black Hole, and that could just be the nail in the coffin for EHOME. I doubt they're saving up for buybacks at this point. They pretty much have to buy items whenever they can. Jaro does have 3k gold banked, so could see another item coming out of him before too long. I wonder what he's going to go for. I feel like he just needs to go for damage. Could perhaps go a little bit more middle of the road and just pick up a butterfly. It is pretty unlikely that the Phantom Lancer is going to be picking up a Monkey King bar, but we'll see what ends up happening. And I'm just hoping to bait with the Gyrocopter at the moment they get the Yules up onto the Queen of Pain, but the second Yules is going to keep her safe for now. Nice cog pushback, but the hook just a little bit too late. And SCCC is going to be able to make his escape. That was the cooldown used. Pretty much the only big cooldown invested for EHOME, but Aegis is going to still stand. And okay, so the Aegis clock is totally bust because Aegis was just reclaimed. And I think that may have actually been the timing that EHOME were kind of hoping for there, to maybe go and get the Queen of Pain right as the Aegis was about to fade, but unfortunately couldn't quite get the chain stun down. So maybe just going to keep on farming up the entire map. We have started to plateau somewhat in terms of net worth, but still looking pretty grim for EHOME at this point. And what is Phantom Lancer, guys? Got the heart completed, another 2.2k gold. Is there anything on the courier? Looks like Queen of Pain just working her way towards a Hex, if I had to guess. I mean, there still isn't a BKB over on the Gyrocopter, so... And Hex isn't necessarily answering any BKBs this game, but it is a really good way to just jump in and potentially lock down the Tinker, or even the Dazzle, and blow them up before they can do anything. Or you can just honestly Hex the Gyrocopter. Even if he survives with a Grave, you've probably wiped out the rest of his team, and really are pretty tanky at this point. in all honesty. They're going to be picking up a Vlad as well on the Tusk. So some extra armor to help out there. Maybe if Newbie are stupid enough to fight in against a decently stacked Weave, then EHOME are looking alright, but I feel like that's the one team fight scenario that they kind of have right now. We've got the Eagle Song picked up for the Gyro, so it looks like it is going to be the Butterfly. Again, he's pretty much the only damage dealer for his team in these fights, unless Tinker can find a really nice angle in from the side. But I think as soon as he blinks in to try and Dagon anyone, he gets one Dagon off, and then he probably immediately dies to a Winter's Curse or a Walrus Punch or whatever else Newbie.Y wanna throw at him. So we're still just going to be waiting for now. Roshan Clock is totally worthless, so I have no clue when Roshan is going to be respawning, but we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll sort itself out. Once again, poor Lena and Clockwork just hoping that they can find any kind of a pick-off. We've got a ranged creep that's been dominated up by the Gyrocopter, hidden away over on the dire side of the map, so if it so happens that Newbie.Y are pushing top lane, he'll be able to TP in and maybe cut some creep waves, but this isn't even necessarily the best place for this creep to be. It's really close to the tier 2 and the tier 3, which makes it pretty straightforward in all honesty for Newbie.Y to respond to it. I think it might be a little bit better if it was just a bit further over where it isn't quite so easy for Newbie to punish you. We're gonna jump in here on mid lane. DXM walked out of the base, and he's gonna get punished for it. Tusk comes flying in. Does cost them a Winter's Curse as well, as the entire EHOME lineup is gonna crash out of the game. But with Tinker dead and with no buyback available, that is definitely looking like a mid lane of Rax here. I was like, where's Phantom Lancer? Can you guys solve the mystery? Where's Phantom Lancer? He's right here. That's Phantom Lancer. Like, I don't see his dot on the map. Where is he gone? He's alive. He's not in the jungle. He's not over here. He's not over there. No, he's just right there. But yeah, so the entire team in position for Newbie here on mid. Was a Tusk BKB and a Winter's Curse, both used to pick up that kill, but they've still got 10-second BKB Blink Black Hole ready to go. And yeah, I don't know what EHOME can do. They've got a Glyph. They could just sacrifice one lane of Rax potentially and get their Tinker back up, but Newbie are not in any way, shape, or form forced to commit here. They can just take the one lane, back up, go get another Roshan, and continue to grind the game out from there. Anyway, Weave's gonna start stacking up. Call down buys a little bit of time. They jump in with the Hex, looking for, JDH. Can they finish him off? Nice Yules. Buys a little bit of space. SCCC in some trouble, but a Glimmer Cape and a Yules, both gonna keep him safe for now. Dog 7 jumped by the Tusk, but still safe. Some more stuns going over Tusk's way. Looks like he's going to be able to retreat back. Sonic Wave gets dropped on Lena, who barely survives. EHOME throwing everything that they have into this defense, just trying to get their Tinker back up and running. 30 seconds to go, however. And the Phantom Lancer shows no signs of stopping. Working away on the melee barracks right now. Call down, still on cooldown from their 8 seconds. They jump in, they Hex, they punch. Do they have a Grave? Looks like they will, but Gyrocopter, how much can he do? The Flat Cannon's already on cooldown, and he's trapped inside the Ice Shards. He's going to be brought down. No buyback for him either. And dominating streak picked up for SCCC as he finishes up the Clockwork there. Jumping further forward, grabs the Dazzle, looks for one more. Yules up onto Lena. Blinking Black Hole on nothing, but GG's being called, and Newbie are going to end up taking this game. So that is going to wrap it up for our first game, guys. Again, we have a pretty hefty break before the next one. Yeah, it's like the next match isn't scheduled to start for another 2 hours, so the stream will probably end up going down and pop back up shortly before that match starts. Don't know what exactly is going on with the schedule, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles at the moment. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cast. If you want to leave any feedback, feel free to email me at basecapdota@gmail.com. Otherwise, hopefully see you a little bit later for some more action. The matches, in terms of where different things are going to be covered, I can actually tell you that very quickly. So the next match on this stream, again in about 2 hours' time, is going to be FTD-A versus CDEC-Y. And then following that, it's going to be FTD-A versus HGT. Over on BTS2 with Cyclops, it's going to be Dubao versus FTD-B. And that's going to be followed up by Dabao versus, or Duobao. Again, I'm probably butchering this, versus DK. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you a little bit later.